Okay, we're continuing our time together talking about this warning that I've been putting out for weeks, is that we do not get distracted into things that really rob us of being attracted toward the things you should be attracted to. So just a heads up, that we should guard where we put our attractions, because that will rob you of what God has told you to be attracted to, like your wife, your children, your job, your church, those things that we've been talking about. Now, we ended last week talking about that you're to set your affections on things above. In other words, you have a responsibility to manage your affections, your attractions, you see. Okay, Matthew 22, verse 37 through 39. Wonderful verse scripture. It says that thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all of thy heart, with all of your soul, with all of thy mind. That's what he says. And this is the first commandment and great commandment. And the second is like unto it, that thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. So here's what God says. Now I'm telling you, listen, he says, you're to be attracted to me. You're to be attracted to me with all of your heart. You're to be attracted to me with all your soul, and you're to be attracted to me with all of your strength, everything about your mind. You're to be attracted to him, okay? You understand that, okay? And so beware, lest we become familiar with what we call divine things. Now get this is a very important truth, is there are things in my life that are divine, okay? I make them divine. Do you see what I'm saying? I can make anything divine. But there are things in my life, I make them divine. My marriage is divine. My relationship with my children is divine. My church is divine. My study of the Word is divine. My prayer time is divine. But beware, lest we become familiar with these divine things. In other words, our marriages are divine things. We know that. I said that. Our children are divine things. Our homes are divine things. Our parents are divine things. Our church is divine things. I'm repeating all that on purpose, but listen to me. All of those things are divine. But our familiarity with the divine things can cause you to lose your awe for the divine things. In other words, if you start going to church and you just do church because you're doing church, then you've lost the attraction for it. And then what begins to happen is you lose the awe for church. When you think about your wife and your marriage, and you begin to take it for granted, it's so familiar. It's just, oh yeah, that's my wife, those are my kids, I gotta go to work. Listen, everything about your life is divine. And what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to make sure that that you don't become so familiar that it is no longer divine. It's no longer special. That relationship with her is no longer special. David was ravished with his God. He was ravished with his God. In Psalms 145, the scriptures that talk about that. Listen to what David said in Psalms 145. He said, I will extol thee, my God. I will. Notice the words, I will. In other words, there's a volition here. I will extol thee, my God, O King. I will bless thy name forever and ever. And every day will I bless thee, and I will praise thy name forever and ever. And then it says, great is the Lord and greatly to be praised, and his greatness is unsearchable. And one generation shall praise thy works to another, and shall declare thy mighty acts. And then he says again, I will speak the glorious honor of thy majesty, of thy wondrous works. He says, and men shall speak of the might of thy terrible acts, and I will declare thy greatness. You see how many times he says, I'm going to do it. I am going to do this. In other words, you know what he's doing? He loved his God. He was passionate. He was attracted to God. And he understood that his love for God was incredible. Verse 10 of that scripture says that all thy works shall praise thee, O Lord, and thy saints shall bless thee. They shall speak of the glory of thy kingdom and talk of the power to make known to the sons of men his mighty acts and the glorious majesty of his kingdom. Can I ask you a question? When you talk to people, do you talk about the glory of his kingdom? Do you talk about the power of God? Do you make known to men his mighty acts? Listen, what are you talking about when you're talking to people? That tells you what you're in love with. And David talked about the kingdom. He says, look, God, I know your kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and thy dominion endureth throughout all generations. You know what he's doing? He's magnifying the kingdom. He's magnifying his love for God. And so when we look at all these scriptures, last verse I will look at is verse 21. He says, my mouth shall speak the praise of the Lord, and let all flesh bless his holy name forever and ever. Did you notice what it says? Now watch this. He says, my mouth is a decision. It's a volition. It's something I've set my heart to do. When I talk, I'm going to speak the praises of God. You know why? You know why? Because it wasn't distracted. There was an attraction to God in his life. So look, take up here, and my prayer is that you will take these lessons, and use them, and beware lest you get distracted from the things you're to be attracted to.